Hey there everyone, Steven here with another video around risk and controls. Today I want to talk about a topic that I actually get a lot from my clients, and it's always about how do I streamline the internal controls program, specifically in the financial reporting area. And it's a great question. At the end of the day, ICFR can be considered as a compliance cost, and like any effective organization, managing costs is always going to be one key initiative, right? So we want to be able to streamline our ICFR program, but at the same time still meet our regulatory obligations. So today, I want to talk about 5 tips that you can consider that would help you streamline your ICFR program. My first point is around centralization of documentation, and I'm chuckling because it seems to always be a constant issue with a lot of organizations. How often do we find that we're spending a lot of time trying to get the relevant support, evidence for our auditors, right? And so having a robust documentation system, filing system that allows you to easily retrieve those evidences is going to decrease a lot of time needed, especially when it comes time for the financial audits. It should, just a friendly reminder too, we should always remember that documenting how we review and how we approve things is always a fundamental aspect of an internal controls program. So developing a very, very robust documentation system is the fundamental. It sounds easy, but it is the fundamental, and I know a lot of organizations do struggle with that. So really have a think about how you're retaining your documentation, and if there's ways to streamline and improve that area. Second point is around standardization of process and controls, and this is particularly very effective for organizations with multiple locations around the globe. And I get that some organizations have decided to adopt a decentralized approach, where each of their component teams, have the ability to create their own process and controls. And there's definitely value in that. And there's certain process where, it may be unique to that regulatory area. So you do want to have different processes. But in general, I would say there's, when it comes to financial reporting, you should try to standardize where possible. Usually, you have one set of accounting standards, so it makes sense that you have the same controls across the globe. It makes life easier for both management and the auditors when it comes to assessing the program. One area where I think most companies can think about in terms of streamlining their program and centralizing it is around the ITGC program. If you have one accounting system across the board, it makes sense to just test one set of ITGCs. Usually those ITGCs would be housed at the corporate level or at headquarters. So imagine you just testing one set of controls in corporate that covers all of your entities. Wouldn't that be awesome? So have a think about whether there's opportunities to standardize your process across the globe or just across the various entities that you have in your company. Third point is around automation, right? We're in the age of technology, so we should try to leverage our accounting systems and ERP systems as much as possible, really identifying these mundane, mundane, repetitive controls where the system can automate that and really free up a lot of your people's time, right, to do more high value areas, high value initiatives, etc., right? So really kind of do an assessment, like these are all the manual controls we have. Are there certain areas where we can automate? Can we automate the bank's reconciliation process, for example? Can we automate the invoice processing process is another area that you can look into, right? So have a look at what your system is right now. Is there ways to automate your manual business process? You're going to thank that system a lot down the road once you have that implemented. Now, the fourth one is around training and awareness. With today's business landscape, things are constantly changing, risks are constantly emerging. We always have to think about how can we make our program as agile as possible. And to do that, we need to train our people to have a risk mindset, right? Both the controls owners and process owners, and letting them see, helping them understand why they're doing what they're doing, right? For every control, there's a risk behind it. By understanding what the risk is, the control owners and process owners can begin to really think about, hey, is there a better way to mitigate the risk, right? Or is there a control somewhere else in the organization that can potentially mitigate the same risk? And this is actually a point that I'll talk about in the next section around rationalization. But if everyone has a risk mindset and understand the objective of controls, you're going to be able to find a lot more efficiencies within your ICFR program. My last and final point is around continuous improvement, always evaluating your internal controls program and seeing where you can improve on it. And that's discussions with management, with the finance folks, with all your different stakeholders, with your internal and external auditors to see, hey, are we lacking resources, or are we maybe missing several controls in one area? Like just having a thing and having a reevaluation of your internal controls program is always key. I always encourage clients every 2 to 3 years to do a rationalization initiative. Have a look at all of your controls that were in scope in the prior year. Identify if there's any duplicate controls. Identify if there's any gaps, if there's any risks that has not been mitigated, and then going from there. It's very important, like I said in my previous point, to have an agile program that can respond to the different risks that's emerging in today's business landscape. So that's it. Those are my 5 points and tips that you can potentially consider to help streamline your internal controls program. It's very important that the internal controls program is constantly evolving to meet the needs of our stakeholders today. My name is Steven, and I'm a risk professional with over 16 years of internal controls risk experience. If there's any questions about the points that I just talked about today, do shoot me a note. Otherwise, we'll chat next time. Thanks for watching.